All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Glad you could all join us here tonight, live on Coach Eli 22222 Uncensored Live Streams. Coach Eli 2, the Deuce. The future home of most, if not all, of my live streams. This channel is getting very, very close to being monetized. It will happen sometime over the next 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how much watch time we get. So please be kind and watch these, streams all the way through and the replays all the way through. We would greatly appreciate it. It is Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday. Let me double check. Yes, it is Wednesday, June 1st, 2022. If you're here live, wow, already the first day of June in 2022. But if you're here watching on the replay, regardless of whenever that may be, don't fear anything. Don't fret a thing, because this is evergreen content. This is going to make sense whenever you come across it. Stick around, because you're going to learn a lot tonight about burnout. I'm going to be sharing my experiences and my thoughts. I'm also going to be going over a couple of postings on the internet, one from one of my favorite blog sites, Psychology Today, and I'm also going to be going over a Reddit posting from a brand new Reddit group that I just joined. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. But before we get to all of that, let me first of all make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. And it absolutely has. Let me also check out the back end of YouTube and make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. And it looks like it is. Just one more thing before we get right to it. I was speaking with my lady several hours ago. She was driving out of town a few hours to go to a family event. And my lady has been keeping me up to date on that family event. And she told me earlier that she may want to do a stream and talk about this family event and what happened there. And she's still there right now, so more things could be transpiring. But, she wants to do a stream at some point tomorrow morning. So, if she still wants to do it, I'm going to talk with her later tonight when she gets back home. She's going to be driving back home. She's just taking a day trip out of town and then coming back. I'll keep you folks in the loop. This should be rather interesting. So make sure that you subscribe to Coach Eli 2, this channel here on Censored Live Streams. Bang the bell, select the notifications, and that way you won't miss anything. Also, please subscribe to my main channel, Coach Eli, Elias Melas. And Nightbot's sharing the link to that channel every 7 minutes. Or just go to youtube.com/lifecoacheli. That is youtube.com/lifecoacheli. And earlier today, in case you missed it and you need some more content to watch once this stream ends, I did episode number 305 of my Walking with Purpose live series. And the topic was, each distraction costs you time from your purpose. How to stay focused. One more time. Each distraction costs you time from your purpose. How to stay focused. So if you missed that, go over to my main channel, Coach Eli, Elias Melas, and check it out on the replay after the show. Also, my Walking with Purpose live series will be moving to this channel here, Coach Eli 2 Uncensored Live Streams. Once it does get monetized, I will make you folks aware as soon as any of these changes happen. And I made a special announcement on my other channel regarding this channel earlier today. But I'm not going to mention that here, because if you want to find out, you know what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go and watch the stream on the replay. That's the way things go around here, right? I'm not going to tell you something already mentioned in a previous stream. Go check it out and enjoy the show. And I can promise you, you will also learn something in the most positive ways possible. All right. Enough of the monologue. Let's get down to business. I don't got no time to mess around. What is this? Must be a circus in town. Never mind. We're not going to do that here tonight. All right. So the topic of tonight's show is Raw and Real with Coach Eli. The number one thing that causes burnout. One more time. Raw and Real with Coach Eli. The number one thing that causes burnout. I mentioned this on my stream earlier today, but I can mention it here because I just did. This is a brand new series I'm going to be running on my channel by myself every now and then called Raw and Real with Coach Eli. I will be doing some live in-studio streams to tackle special topics. And on occasion, on my main channel, Coach Eli, Elias Melas, I will be doing some Raw and Real with Coach Eli pre-recorded videos in the highest quality, of course, like I've always said, 4K at 60 frames per second. So that's a little bit more about that. So it's interesting. No, I'm going to hold off on that. I'll probably share that tomorrow. Gotta save something. Gotta save something for a future show. Let's just get right to it. Before I get to the first of two postings from the internet that I'm going to be dissecting here tonight, I'm just going to come out and share my opinion regarding my thoughts on burnout and my thoughts regarding the number one thing that causes burnout. So, I'm going to give you the answer. And if you just want to take the answer and run, that's totally up to you. But there's going to be a lot more supporting content, just so you know. In my opinion, the number one thing that causes burnout is a lack of emotional self-control. One more time. The number one thing that causes burnout is a lack of emotional self-control. Now, why do I say that? Because here's the thing. If you allow people to get to you, right? If you allow people to get to you emotionally, or you react to things emotionally, and you're not emotionally strong, there is nothing that will burn you out quicker than emotional drain. Again, if you allow other people's opinions of you to get to you, if you allow people to attack you, if you just let things get to you and you react and overreact to things, right? Or if you get super triggered, you're exuding more energy far above and beyond the normal level of exuding energy. And you're wearing yourself down quicker. And that's what is the beginning of burnout, in my opinion. Sure, there are many more things, and we're going to tackle those things when we get to the Psychology Today blog posting here in just a second. But that's my opinion. It's a lack of emotional self-control. If you have emotional self-control and don't allow anything or anyone to get to you, you will prevent most burnout, and you will live a happy and healthy life, and you're going to grow and prosper in due time regarding anything that you try to accomplish. All right, so let's head on over to the browser screen and get to this posting on Psychology Today. And let's see here. It doesn't even say who wrote it. It just says Burnout, Workaholic, reviewed by Psychology Today staff. Okay. So here's what they wrote. Burnout is a stage of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion brought on by prolonged or repeated stress. Exactly. It's brought on by prolonged or repeated stress. So like I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, if you allow people to get to you, if you allow people to trigger you, if you allow things to get to you and you just don't blow things off and say it is what it is, this is what's going to cause prolonged or repeated stress. And it's going to start wearing you down very quickly. And it's going to continue wearing you down with that emotional drain, that strong emotional drain that is going to burn you out very quickly. And depending on the level of prolonged or repeated stress that you encounter or you allow to get to you, it's going to take you that much longer to recover and start being able to focus on what you were doing initially to get ahead in life, regardless of whatever that is. Though it is not most often caused by problems at work, it can also appear in other areas of life, such as parenting, caretaking, or romantic relationships. Absolutely. It can happen in any aspect of life. You know, I'm not going to lie. My lady knows this, and I know this, and we've worked through it. When I first met my lady, she was dealing with a very high level of emotional trauma, and she was still working through a bunch of things. And because I saw that she had the biggest, heart and soul, and she still does to this day, and probably will always have it, I decided to give her the chance and help her work through these issues because she has such a big head and heart. She's such a wonderful woman. But I'm not going to lie, helping her work through this, I'd say for at least the first 4 or 5 months of our relationship, maybe 6 months, it was very, very emotionally draining and emotionally taxing, and it burned me out. And after, going through all this, and now, with my lady and I having been together for almost 9 months, my lady experienced some things recently, and it really burned her out. And then she came to me and said, "Babe, wow, now I realize what I put you through. I realize how tired you are and how drained you are. And it's not that, you're not attracted to me to not want to be intimate at times. It's the fact that you're truly, truly burnt out because you've been helping me and helping many other people. And sometimes it gets so emotionally taxing that it just drains you and you need a day or two to recover." Yeah, absolutely. It causes burnout. Absolutely. So let's continue here. What causes burnout? Burnout is not simply a result of working long hours or juggling too many tasks, though those both play a role. Yeah, so working long hours or juggling a lot of tasks can burn you out, but that's not necessarily the cause of burnout. The cynicism, depression, and lethargy that are characteristic of burnout most often occur when a person is not in control of how a job is carried out at work or at home, or is asked to complete tasks that conflict with their sense of self. So basically, if you love what you do, it is less likely that you're going to burn out, or at least burn out as soon as if you don't like what you do and you're just doing it to make a paycheck. So that's why, part of my coaching is, empowering people and teaching people to do something for a living that you truly enjoy, not just to make a paycheck. Now, I understand at times, while you're trying to get into a career that you truly love, until you get in that career, get hired in that career, you may have to take a job temporarily that you truly don't enjoy or enjoy as much as the one that you want to get. But, in that situation, you just have to make the best of it, and then, keep on focusing on, transitioning to that job that you truly love and enjoy. And when you keep that on the top of your mind, it's going to help you get through those days while you have to work that job you really don't enjoy and are just doing for the money. Equally pressing is working toward a goal that doesn't resonate, or when a person lacks support. If a person doesn't tailor responsibilities to match a true calling, or at least take a break once in a while, they could face burnout. You've got to take lots of breaks. If you're self-employed, like I take a break typically every hour or so. I get up, I walk around, I refill my coffee, I use the restroom, right? Okay. I stretch. And it's only about a 5-minute break or so. But that's all you really need. Just take a 5-minute break every hour or so if you're self-employed. Now, if you're in the workforce, you have to go according to when your company provides breaks according to the laws in your state or province, right? But never, ever, 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 ever skip your breaks. And this is a problem I used to see in the corporate world, and I still see it happening today because I know many people that work in the corporate world. Sometimes because, certain businesses are short-staffed, some employees may have to go 3 or 4 hours without taking a break. That should never, ever happen. If that happens one time, maybe you can brush it off. But if it continues to happen over and over again, you've got to talk with your management about it and let them know that, hey, I need to recoup every 2 hours or so to recharge my body to be as productive as possible. So I'm hoping we can, start to be a little more consistent with the breaks so I can perform, at the highest level possible for you. And I know how that may sound. Whenever you question something, even legitimate with a company, you get on their bad side and, they may end up writing you out and firing you. I understand that. But no one should ever have to go more than 2 hours or 2.5 hours at the most without taking at least a little break. Okay? Let's see. As well as the mountain of mental and physical health problems that often come along with it, including headaches, fatigue, heartburn, and other gastrointestinal symptoms, as well as increased potential for alcohol, drug, or food misuse. And this is something my lady struggled with. She's talked about it, publicly here on this channel. Go back and check out the videos or the streams I did with her, especially her life story, her 2-part life story. You'll learn a lot more about that there. But yeah, burnout can lead to many things. That's why a lot of people that work jobs that burn them out, that they don't really enjoy, they drink all the time. And sometimes they do drugs or they even overeat, which can, further put you in a worse position by gaining weight. Okay, give me just a second here. Let's see. How do you know if you're burned out? Physical and mental exhaustion, a sense of dread about work, and frequent feelings of cynicism, anger, or irritability are key signs of burnout. Right. And here's the thing. This is exactly what happened to my lady at her former place of employment. And she did stand up for herself. She was not unprofessional. She handled it in the most proper ways possible. And, it still cost her job. And in case people are wondering, she is doing quite well. She's financially doing well. I'm not going to mention, how she's doing well, but she did it all on herself. And, she's got a bunch of job interviews lined up and about to get a really good job, more than likely this coming towards the end of this week. So we'll update you folks on that. So there's a lot of great stuff that's happening to her. So, her losing her job was actually the best thing that could have happened, because not only is she less stressed out now, she's going to get a better job with a better work schedule, making more money. What is there to complain about that, right? All right. Those in helping professions, such as doctors, may notice dwindling compassion towards those in their care. Feeling like you can no longer do your job effectively may also signal burnout. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Even if you love what you do and you enjoy what you do, I really love what I do out here for more than just the money, more than just the YouTube views and possible fame and all that. I love what I do. But even though I love what I do, because I also have many other things that I'm responsible for in my life, sometimes, I need to take a day or two away and take a break to recharge the mind, body, and soul. Even when I've said, hey, I'm going to come back tonight and more than likely do a stream on blah, 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 sometimes, I end up saying, oh, okay, I'm not feeling it right now. So I'm going to take the night off, come back and make up for it tomorrow or the next day, right? So you got to listen to your body, because even if you force yourself to try to do something when, your body's telling you to take a break, it's not going to come out as well as if you're well rested. Had I done some shows when I was really, really super tired and my body was telling me to rest, they probably would not have turned out as good. So that's that. Let's see. What's the difference between burnout and stress? By definition, burnout is an extended period of stress that feels as though it cannot be ameliorated. If stress is short-lived or tied to a specific goal, it is most likely not harmful. Yeah. Well, we all have our moments. We're all going to have moments of disappointment and things not going our way. That's totally normal. And you might be disappointed for a second or two. But, if you've built up the emotional strength that I've built and you've learned to understand that things aren't always going to go your way, this is not going to bother you. If it's something tied to a specific goal or something that is not harmful, you're just going to blow it off. If the stress feels never ending and comes with feelings of emptiness, apathy, and hopelessness, it may be indicative of burnout. I've seen a lot of people go through this in the dating world nowadays. That's a good example. My lady was going through this. I actually was going through this because for people like my lady and I that have always wanted true love and happiness, we've always put ourselves out there and made so much effort, and we come across the wrong people all these times that, the feeling of continuing to try when we failed so many times, can make us feel like, is it even worth trying, right? And we get that feeling of hopelessness, emptiness, apathy, and this could be indicative of burnout. Yeah, that can even burn you out. Again, being in the wrong job, like my lady was, that can burn you out. And it did burn her out. And even if she kept her mouth shut, and when she spoke professionally. Don't get me wrong. When she spoke professionally. But even if she didn't say anything, all she would have been doing is holding herself back from getting further ahead, right? And again, she's in a much better position now being unemployed than when she was being employed. And I'll have her share more about that, down the road if she wants to. But again, she's about to get another job with a better work schedule, more money. She knows some of the managers at this company. And she's using her networking skills and making things happen. And she is so much happier. I'm so proud of you, babe, if you're listening. Let's see. Oh, yeah, speaking to the devil, you're in here. Are you driving back yet, babe, or are you still at the family event? There she is. I got a moderator here now. All right. We are at 24 minutes. Let's continue. What is compassion fatigue? Compassion fatigue is a condition in which someone becomes numb to the suffering of others, feels less able to display empathy toward them, or loses hope in their ability to help. It most often affects healthcare professionals, soldiers, or anyone who is regularly exposed to human suffering. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a field where you're dealing with, with health and people dying and stuff like that, yeah, a lot of that stuff also causes PTSD. So, yeah, I get it. I get it. That can give you a huge level of fatigue and very easily burn you out for a long period of time. So, I get it. I get it. Just have to learn to understand that it is what it is, a part of the job. And, if you're not able to handle it and live a healthy life, maybe that's not the career for you. If you're going to do a career like that, you have got to understand what you're up against. Are some jobs more likely to cause burnout? Any job can be a source of burnout. Some data suggests that more than half of U.S. workers have experienced burnout at least once in their lives. It's happened to me more than once in my life. Even being self-employed, even when I was selling insurance before I did the life coaching thing here full time, that burned me out at times. This YouTube thing / life coaching thing has burned me out many times, but I have finally learned to balance myself out in such a way to the point of where I don't overdo it. I've also learned to not allow people to get to me emotionally and trigger me based on their opinions. And between all of that, I've just learned how to do the best I can with what I've got each and every day, and take a break when necessary. And that way I don't get burned out. And maybe I can help you get to that level too. Those with particularly high-stress jobs, such as lawyers, doctors, or police officers, those are very fast-paced jobs. Lawyers are dealing with, some serious court cases that, have the lives of, their clients in their hands. Doctors are dealing with saving lives. Police officers are dealing with, keeping the peace and protecting, bad people. Protecting good people from bad people, keeping the peace. So they're very high-paced and high-stressed jobs, or high-stress jobs, which is what I'm trying to say. Maybe more likely than those in low-stress professions to experience burnout. That is true. That is true. Some jobs, like the ones mentioned here, may more likely stress out these people much more easily and more often, but that doesn't mean even the low stress jobs will never burn you out. They can burn you out as well. So you got to be careful. You got to pace yourself. You got to balance yourself very well. And another thing, you got to get good rest each and every night. I mean, at the very, very least, you got to get 6 to 7 hours of sleep, preferably 8 hours or 9 if you can. But if you're getting at least 6 hours of sleep per night, that's bare minimum, in my opinion. Getting 7 to 8 hours, that's the sweet spot right there for most people. 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And that way you can be wide awake and fully energized for 16 hours before you go to sleep again. And that's why it's also important to get a job that has a consistent schedule, because working in retail, especially retail management, like my lady used to work in, and I used to work in retail and retail management for the first 16 to 17 years of my career, we always had a different schedule. One night we would open the store, the next night we would close and open the next day, sometimes with less than 8 hours in between each shift, which is technically not allowed, but it does happen. So that throws off your sleeping patterns. So, in all honesty, the type of job you get and the schedule your job provides you is going to have a huge impact on whether you get burned out or not, or if you do get burned out, you get burned out less often. So that's that. Let me check out the chat here real quick. Respectfully, maturely, and professionally driving. Oh, you're driving back already. So by the time I'm done with this show, babe, you're going to be home and we can have a brief conversation before bed. And even talk about possibly doing that show tomorrow morning right here on Coach Eli 2 Uncensored Live Streams. Hey, baby, how does the Shure SM7B sound in your car? Yes, I'm talking about my mic again, baby. It's all good. It's all good. All right, we are at 30 minutes. Let's continue because this is quite long. How to deal with burnout. While some work environments may be especially grinding, such as the medical profession or law enforcement, anyone who's running out of gas can take steps to alleviate the deleterious effects of burnout and, if necessary, reevaluate their work life. Let me read that again because, babe, you're driving back from your family event. And thank you for listening while you're driving back. Appreciate that. This is what happened to you. Anyone who's running out of gas can take steps to alleviate the deleterious effects of burnout and, if necessary, reevaluate their work life. Babe, you were not happy at your job. You loved your job, and you were the hardest worker there. And you were the best assistant manager that company ever had. But they just weren't appreciating you. Your store manager was not appreciating you. Your district manager was not appreciating you. The company was not appreciating you. They took advantage of you. And many other things we're not going to get into because there's a lot more to this story. And people have no idea. People have no idea what's in the works. And when this story is all said and done, I'm telling you, when this story is all said and done, this woman I'm with today, that I feel blessed to be with, I do feel blessed to be with you, babe. She's going to become the poster woman for, women being treated fairly in the workforce. Now, here's the thing. I'm a guy. And, I'm not a feminist or anything like that. I'm an equal person that equally respects men and women. And when either men or women are being treated unfairly in any aspect of life, I will step in and go to bat for them. So just wanted to clarify where I stand regarding that. To counter burnout, having a sense of purpose. That's exactly what you were struggling with, babe. You're listening to this and you're like saying, holy shit, babe, this is exactly what I went through. This is exactly what I went through. So to counter burnout, having a sense of purpose, having an impact on others, that's what you wanted. That's what you had as a nurse. Or feeling as if one is making the world a better place are all valuable. Often, meaningfulness can counteract the negative aspects of a job. Right. If you love what you do, you're willing to put up with the bullshit. I love what I do here. I love being a coach and sharing my stories with people and my experiences with people. So when I deal with the bullshit of what I have to do to get my message out and help people, it's worth it because I love what I do. Other motivators include autonomy as well as a good, hard challenge. I love a good challenge. Trust me. That's what I love about my woman. She gives me a good challenge every day. You definitely do, babe. And that's why I love you. Baby, if you didn't give me a good challenge all the time, I would get bored. That's another reason why I'm with you, because you're definitely not a boring woman, I'll tell you that. Whew. Okay, here's a great question here. Let me just get a sip of my coffee real quick. Should I quit my job if I'm burned out? That's a great question. Maybe, but it is not the only option. Speaking up about your concerns or restructuring your work environment to address burnout may be less risky and equally effective. It all depends. My lady tried to handle the situation at her work long before she even met me. She was trying to resolve this. And when she met me, I gave her the motivation to stand up for herself and try a little bit with a little bit more, I wouldn't say aggression, but, to be a little more adamant about, getting things done and turning things around. And, I was telling her, hey, if it doesn't work out and they do what most companies do, ride you out and play the game and then fire you, then trust me, there's a backup plan. And when that did happen to my lady, oh yeah, there has been a backup plan. And she's getting some much needed time off. And she's all good. Let's just put it that way. I don't need to say much more. She's all good. And now, like I said earlier, she's about to get another job that pays more money and has a better work schedule and knows the management there. And they're nice and cool people and they're respectful. So yeah, it all depends on the situation. But if you are being treated unfairly in the workforce, if you're in a hostile work environment, or if you are being discriminated based on your gender or your age or your race or anything like that, why would you want to put up with that, right? You got to speak up. And even if the company retaliates against you, you do have laws protecting you. And trust me, there are things you can do about it. If you want to know more about that, reach out to me at Coach Eli at coacheli.com. My email's below in the description. I can find out some free resources that will fight for you in your area. Let's see. Nurturing your relationships, adopting self-care habits, and focusing on hobbies outside of work can also help restore your sense of self and mitigate stress. Basically, my lady and I being in a great relationship has mitigated a ton of each other's stress, or a ton of our own individual stress, which is what I'm trying to say. We confide in each other. We're teammates. We're soulmates. And we talk about these things and we come up with resolutions before they burn us out or stress us out. Before we met each other, I had a pretty good understanding on how to handle these things. But, she was still struggling with how to handle these things. And because of her following my content and learning through my experiences, she's now become much better at handling these things. And it has turned her life around. It can also turn your life around too. How can I draw better boundaries at work when you have too many conflicting responsibilities? Simply saying no to new tasks is an important, albeit challenging way to reduce your workload. Sometimes your bosses won't let you do that. Sometimes they overload you with work because they think that's a way to get you to move faster and work faster and harder and get more work done. I've never managed in that way, but a lot of managers do that. So it all depends on who you're working for again. And if you're not happy with who you're working for, if it's not a good work environment, if it's a hostile work environment or a discriminatory environment, you gotta stand up for yourself. And if they get rid of you, you have options to fight it and go get another job. In the meantime, file for unemployment, and you may have other options. If you have 401k or other options, you'll have money to survive until you find another job. There are great options that you all have. And if you need more help understanding those options, please, again, reach out to me at Coach Eli at coacheli.com. Again, my email is below the description. Scheduling regular breaks, starting and stopping at set times, and minimizing multitasking can all help maintain boundaries and reduce feelings of burnout. In essence, don't overload yourself. Don't overload yourself. Handle things one at a time. And if you have a list of 10 things to do, and I learned this the hard way, if you have a list of 10 things to do, and 8 of those things take 5 minutes to do each, and 2 of those things take 2 hours each, do the first 8 things that take 5 minutes each. What I used to do in that situation was do the 2 hardest things first, right? And those things would take me a couple days to do, working on them 2 hours each day. Then my district manager would come in and say, Elias, how many things on the list did you get done? Sir, I got 2 of them done. I got the 2 hardest ones done. They were 2 hours. You should have had at least 8 things done by now. I'm like, sir, I got the 2 hardest things done. I understand that. In the future, you should tackle the things that take the least amount of time first. Get those first 8 things done that take 5 minutes each. 8 times 5, 40 minutes. You could have had 8 things done and been 80% of the way done. And honestly, as much as I wanted to rearrange my district manager's space, okay, that's figure of speech, obviously, but I did feel that way. Okay, I'm sure you felt that way too a time or two. He was right. And that's the way I've learned to prioritize things. Tackle the easiest and quickest things first on the list, knock them out of the way, because it's going to make you feel like you've accomplished more and push you further ahead to much more easily get through the last few things that are harder and take longer to accomplish. Let me check out the chat here real quick. Okay. All right. How can I improve my work-life balance? Adjusting your work hours or location, perhaps by telecommuting, can help significantly, as can outsourcing or sharing responsibilities when possible. Setting clear boundaries between work and life by not checking email during off hours, for instance, practicing self-care and allowing for adequate downtime are also useful strategies. This was really hard for me to do when I was in retail management, and same thing for my lady. Her boss would call her all the time. My bosses would call me all the time. They would be like, sorry for bothering you while you're off work. Yeah, bullshit. You're not sorry. You just have to say that, right? That's part of the problem, folks. And the way to work around that is, try to set boundaries. You don't have to answer your phone, when you're on a day off. Even if you see your boss calling you or you get a message from your boss, just ignore that call if it's your time off and get back to them when you get a chance. Don't let it consume your day. You got to practice self-care. You have to allow for adequate downtime and you got to recharge the mind, body, and soul. I used to check email all the time on my days off when I was in retail management. Just wasn't good. I never really got a chance to recharge. Fortunately for me, I was still fairly young. I was in my early 30s. I think I was, when was the last retail job I had? I think I was 33 or 34, something like that. Still fairly young. So that's how I was able to do it. But now at 48, there's no way I'd be able to do what I did back then and not burn out. I will tell you that. Even though I'm in good shape and have lots of energy, there's no way in hell I'd be able to do that and work at that level, even on my days off. Let's see. Can self-care practices help? Self-care is an effective weapon in the fight against burnout, research shows, though self-care looks different for everyone. Common strategies include yoga, mindfulness meditation, massage, exercise, dietary changes, or practicing self-compassion. You've got to do at least one of these each and every day. For me, it's exercise. I walk 3.5 miles minimum each day. And the days where I don't walk and do a walking with purpose stream, I'm walking at least 1 to 2 miles with my lady. And when we went away to the Central Valley last weekend to watch that concert, we were walking around. We walked at least 1.5 miles or 2 miles while we were at that event in that area. So you got to get up and move around. Okay? and make sure that you eat right, dietary changes. Okay. Don't undereat, but don't overeat. Okay. Don't eat too many sugars. Don't eat too many fatty foods. You can have some with moderation, but moderate it, right? You can have a dessert every now and then, but moderate it. But if you're going to eat some dessert every now and then, make sure you get your exercise in daily. And exercise will also kick in those endorphins, the feel-good hormone, right? Some people do yoga. Now, I'm not into yoga. I think yoga is more of a feminine thing, but I know guys do it. I'm not trying to be critical. But there are a lot of women that love yoga, and it keeps women in shape. It stretches your muscles. It just makes you feel good, and it tackles burnout. And practicing self-compassion, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, don't allow people to trigger you, and don't get don't let things get to you. Just don't let things get to you in general, no matter what anyone says or does. Don't let it get to you, because the people that are saying things to you are just projecting how they see themselves onto you because they wish they could be you. Don't let them get to you. Practice self-compassion. Okay. Okay, we are at 46 minutes. I think we're almost done with this article here. How can I help a loved one who is burned out? It can be painful to watch a loved one struggle with burnout, especially because it is rarely possible for you to address the root causes yourself. That's true. Instead, practicing empathetic listening, encouraging self-care, and offering help with tasks outside of work may be the most effective ways to provide support. This is exactly how I helped my woman when she was going through all of this when I first met her almost 9 months ago. So, while it may be impossible for you to address the root causes of someone else's burnout, you can be empathetic. You can listen, encourage, positive reinforcement, and offer to help them with tasks outside of work. I've helped my lady with so many things that no one else has ever helped her with, and it has turned her life around. I'm not saying that to show off or seek any credit. I say that because that's all it takes to help someone work through this. When burnout isn't caused by work, jobs aren't the only source of the chronic stress that causes burnout. Parents, partners, and non-professional caregivers can also experience endless exhaustion, feel overwhelmed by their responsibilities, or secretly believe that they have failed at their role. These forms of burnout are referred to as parental burnout, relationship burnout, and caregiver burnout, respectively. Okay? Sometimes the massive or major responsibilities of the type of work you have, or the responsibility you have to your family or to your clients or your patients, right? It can lead to chronic stress that creates burnout. And a lot of these people in the medical field, a lot of nurses, they'll work 3/12s and take 4 days off, or they'll work 4/10s and get 3 days off. I can't remember what your work schedule was like back then, babe, but I'm sure you either worked 3/12s or 4/10s, and then you had 3 or 4 days off. And those 3 or 4 days off in a row were always necessary to allow you to recoup so you can come back and work your 3/12s or 4/10s the following week. And that's a pretty fair schedule. Yeah, working 3 12-hour shifts in a row is rough, but then getting 4 days off in a row after every 3/12s you do is phenomenal. That's a great balance right there. Non-work burnout, however, is less well known than that caused by career stress. Stereotypes and stigma, particularly related to parenting, can make those suffering from non-work related burnout feel as if they are to blame for their challenges. As a result, They often hide their struggles from others. This is something you should never, ever do. This is what my lady did in the past. This is what many people do. And I've done this in my younger days too. I've always tried to hide my struggles from others instead of reaching out for help where people would help me. Because I felt like if I had to ask for help with these struggles, I felt like I'd be a failure. And that's how most people feel. And the truth of the matter is, it's actually the opposite. You will fail if you don't reach out for help. You're going to flip out and you're going to lose it if you don't reach out for help. So swallow your pride and get the help. And this is one of the most difficult things that I have to deal with in my business. The people that truly need my help are the ones that aren't open to it, right? Let me repeat that again. The people that truly need my help are the ones that aren't open to it. You have to allow people to help you if you want to get the help and turn things around. But burnout in any form can have severe consequences if left untreated. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to get the help. Talk to a coach like me. Talk to your doctor. Talk to your therapist. Talk to whoever you feel you need to talk to regarding what you feel is causing your burnout. Discussing it openly, either with a spouse, family member, friends, or a therapist, or a life coach too, is often the first step to addressing its symptoms, getting needed help, and avoiding negative outcomes. I have nothing more to add to that. I could not have said any better myself. Let's see, how much more do we have? I might just take a break here and finish this when I get back before getting to the next. No, actually, I'm going to finish it up right now. It's almost done. My kids make me feel burned out. Am I a bad parent? The idea that only bad parents get burned out is a harmful myth. Good parenting is just as tiring as bad parenting. Parenting is parenting. The idea that only bad parents get burned out is a harmful myth. Parenting is deeply rewarding for many, but it is also demanding and challenging, and parents must balance work schedules, outside responsibilities, their own well-being, and potentially a child's special needs, in many cases without adequate support. Yeah, that also speaks for itself. Yeah, whether you're a good parent or a bad parent, if you're a bad parent, turn that shit around because your child's depending on you, right? But parenting is parenting. And it can burn you out if you don't have a grip on it. And if you don't have your shit together, and hopefully most people are not single parents and sharing custody and doing it all on their own. That makes it more tiring and burns you out more. But if you're in a happy and healthy relationship or marriage with children and you communicate with your spouse and balance things out between work and, your home life and your kids, you will figure it out. You just have to communicate. That's all you have to do. Let's see here. What are the signs of caregiver burnout? Caring for a child with special needs and or an aging parent may trigger burnout. Signs include persistent fatigue, frequent crying spells, and feelings of helplessness, anger, or frustration towards the person in your care. Taking care of your own health and asking for help can provide relief. So, special needs, children, or an aging parent, they're going to obviously be much more difficult to deal with. They're getting older. Maybe, I don't mean to be rude, but this is the only way I can think of this right now. Maybe they've lost a few marbles as they've aged, and that's just a funny way of saying, they've gotten some disease or something like that, and it happens. And some children are born special needs out of the gate. So you have to learn to tolerate that and take that into consideration. And I will tell you, special needs children and aging parents will make you stronger. Trust me, it'll make you stronger. Let's see. I think we read that whole thing. And last but not least, why is my relationship so draining? I kind of tackled relationship at the beginning of this stream, but let's see what they say here. Romantic relationships can be as taxing as a full-time job. No shit. Tell my lady that. No, she knows that already, babe. You know that. I love you, baby. You know that. Hope you're driving safely over the pass. Anyways. Once again, romantic relationships can be as taxing as a full-time job and may cause similar feelings of burnout. If you don't look forward to seeing your partner, feel cynical about your future, blame them for whatever goes wrong, or often fantasize about leaving, your relationship may be burning out. That's happened in the past in some of my relationships. And sometimes it just happened out of the blue. At least it came out of the blue. But, you know, when I would get dumped, the ladies go through a cycle before they dump you. They know months in advance when they're on their way out. They give you a chance to turn things around. And if you don't figure it out, then they leave you. But as far as my current relationship, I've never, ever once felt this way. And I'll tell you why. Because her and I communicate about everything. And whether we agree or disagree, we work through everything and we talk through everything. And that's all it takes. So, yeah, there is that article on Psychology Today titled Burnout. It was a great read there. Let me go back to full screen. We are at 56 minutes. So let me go ahead and cue up some royalty-free YouTube music, and we're going to take an 8 or 9 minute break to rest the mind, body, and soul, and the voice as well, and to use the little boys' room too, right? Excuse me. Should have muted, but anyway. All right. Let's see here. We got one. We got one. We got one. We got two. We got three. Just need one more. Just need one more. All right, music is all queued up. I'm going to step away for an 8 or 9 minute break. When we get back, we're going to be on probably for another 20 or 30 minutes. This won't take too long. We're going to go onto Reddit and check out a brand new Reddit group I just joined called Career Guidance from the subreddit Our Career Guidance. And the original poster's title is, what is the difference between burnout and just being exhausted? One more time. What is the difference between burnout and just being exhausted? That's coming up right after the break. So stick around. Stick around. Stick around. Round. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, feel good. Do you feel good? I feel fantastic. No more burnout. No more burnout. No more burnout. Yeah. 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 Bow. 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 Yeah, baby. Yeah, feel it. I want you to feel it. I want you to feel good. Yeah. Yeah, clap your hands, everybody. And everybody clap your hands. Yeah. 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 The song is called Boo Boogie by Dougie Wood from the YouTube audio library. All right, let's get back down to business. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube, live on Coach Eli 2. Coach Eli 2. The Deuce, remember that. Coach Eli 2 Uncensored live streams. The future home of most, if not all, of my live streams. This channel is getting very, very close to being monetized. It'll be monetized probably sometime within the next 2 to 4 weeks. Once that happens, I'm going to be moving over my Walking with Purpose streams over to this channel from my main channel. And then on my main channel, I'm going to be creating some more bite-sized content in the highest quality, 4K at 60 frames per second. I'm also going to be creating some more YouTube shorts, more bite-sized form content that'll help you get through your days, and even create some more members-only content as well. So keep it locked here for more information. Subscribe, bang the bell, and select all notifications on both channels. If you're here, subscribe to Coach Eli 2. If you also want to subscribe to my main channel, Nightbot sharing the link every 7 minutes. That's the Coach Eli, Elias Melas main channel at youtube.com/Life Coach Eli. Also, on this channel here, since it is not monetized yet, if you would like to make a donation in any amount to support the channel based on the value you feel you're receiving, you can do so in one of 2 ways. Nightbot sharing the link to both my PayPal and Cash App accounts. That's right, PayPal and Cash App accounts. On PayPal, you can PayPal me at paypal.me/Coach Eli. I screwed it up. PayPal.me/Coach Eli. And on Cash App, it's $ the real Coach Eli. Because there are a lot of phonies out there, right? $ the real Coach Eli. And as always, donations are greatly appreciated, but they are not required. All right. Yeah. All right. Tonight, we have been discussing the number one thing that causes burnout. And tonight I started a brand new show I'm going to be doing on occasion here on this channel, Coach Eli 2 Live. And in the future on my main channel, Coach Eli, Elias Melas, I'll be doing some pre-recorded content with the Raw and Real with Coach Eli tagline. So again, we're discussing the number one thing that causes burnout. And if you missed the first part of the show, go back and check out the replay. I went over a Psychology Today posting that very well dissected what causes burnout, and I put my own spin on it as well. So check that out. You will learn a lot. It will definitely help you better your life and keep you cool, calm, and collective so you take that energy and channel it in a positive way to accomplish whatever it is that your heart's desire. And I mentioned that the number one thing that causes burnout, in my opinion, and it should be a fact, but this is my opinion, the number one thing that causes burnout is a lack of emotional self-control. One more time, it's a lack of emotional self-control. Get a grip on your emotional self-control, and you will get the best grip on your life you can possibly get. So go back and check out the replay if you missed that first part. Let's get to the last part of the show here. This will only take probably about 20 or 30 minutes. Let's go back on over to the browser screen and check out this brand new Reddit group I just joined called Career Guidance. And give me just a second here. Let me make sure this is rolling smoothly. I'm exuding so much energy, and it's a little bit warm here in the Bay Area, and the allergens are in the air. And even though I've taken my Allegra and Flonase, it does hit you at times. But anyway, we just keep on pushing forward, right? All right, this posting is from the subreddit r Career Guidance, and the original poster's title is, "What is the difference between burnout and just being exhausted?" Advice requested. One more time. What is the difference between burnout and just being exhausted? Let's read what the original poster wrote. They're seeking advice. The main question is, what are the main differences between actual burnout and just being exhausted? More details are below, but are not part of the main question. Okay, you're going to share a little bit about yourself with us. That's fantastic. I like it when people do that. It puts in a little more context, right? And then, as he says, for some context, thank you for taking that into consideration. You're like the best poster I've come across because you take the context into consideration. I'm a 29 male, have worked as a tech contractor for the past 4 years, recently switching from banking to hospitality. That's a huge career change. So you went from the banking industry to hospitality. That's like a night and day difference right there. Both large and well-known corporations. Both roles were as a technical BA/data analyst type role. So you're kind of like a geeky, nerdy type of dude, huh? Anyone that's in data analysis is a geeky, nerdy type of dude. Not a bad thing. I'm like a geeky type of dude, but I'm also the cool version of the geeky, nerdy type of dude, right? My lady will tell you that I'm like the best of both worlds, right, baby? Humbly speaking, that is, right? Oh, man, I better just shut my mouth and keep moving forward. I've unfortunately been looking back lately, questioning a lot of the decisions I've made to be at this point, and if I should have pursued other avenues. Well, we're always going to question that. It doesn't necessarily mean we made the wrong choice or choices. One of my interests while younger was to be a physical therapist/trainer and work specifically with golfers. Okay, well, how about you create a side hustle doing that? And who knows, your side hustle might turn into a very lucrative business that will not only replace your income of your current job as a data analyst, which sounds kind of boring compared to being a physical therapist and trainer, right, and working with golfers. It may make you more money. Regardless, I'm considering taking a sabbatical. Wow, that's pretty intense, bro, a sabbatical for a couple of months. For a couple of months, just to refresh and learn some new skills. Not a bad idea. That's a great idea. Most likely get more in depth with web development and API development. Well, that's still, something to do with the tech industry and data analysis and stuff like that. And more like programming and stuff like that. I think you're the kind of guy that's a very smart guy, but you're also maybe an outgoing guy. And I think the type of work you're doing limits you to human contact. You're stuck at a computer all day, and you want to get out there and actually work with people, alongside people, and do something more engaging in reality, not in the digital world, which is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. I've been drinking some Monster Ultra Watermelon. That's like my lady's most favorite Monster drink. I ended up ordering last week a 24-pack of Monster Ultra Watermelon. Let me just show you this. Let me go to full screen here. You can see this clearly with this camera here, as long as there's no glare. Monster Ultra Energy, Ultra Watermelon Energy or something like that. This is a great flavor here. And the silver part, there's a green in there. And since I have a green screen, it's kind of transparent on that part. So forgive me, but that's the best we're going to get it here. All right. Let's go back to the browser source. Okay. Let's see here. I guess I'm also a bit downtrodden. Downtrodden? What the hell does that even mean? Give me a second here. What is this vocabulary here? Give me a second here. Downtrodden, oppressed or treated badly by people in power. Learn something new every day. I've never heard that word before. Downtrodden. Okay. I guess I'm also a bit downtrodden by not being able to buy a house and seeing my parents get older. Well, you probably live in an area where the cost of living is very high, such as where I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so you have some choices to make. Either move into an area where homes are more affordable, but if you do that, you may not be able to make the same money you're making where you're at. Unless your job allows you to relocate and work from home, that could be a possibility. But, don't feel downtrodden, because you're not able to buy a house at this point. And if let's say you work your side hustle, being like a physical therapist or trainer for, like you said up here, and work specifically with golfers, you might create a lucrative business that could end up being a multi-million-dollar business. Then you can buy a house anywhere. It sounds like to me, dude, you're selling yourself a bit short, and you're only 29 years old. You got plenty of time, dude, between now and 35. If you just focus on what you really want to accomplish, by the time you're 35, you can have everything, man. All right, let's read some comments here before we go off the air. Let's see, comment number 1. My take on it is that if you're thinking you need months to recover, you're burning out. That's true. That's true. Because maybe he's overthinking things. Maybe he's putting too much pressure on himself, right? Maybe, he's lost a little faith in himself and he constantly questions himself, which is what I'm trying to say. And maybe he's having a false sense of burnout. Maybe it's just all in his head. I think it's more so all in his head. He just needs to change his mindset and he can accomplish whatever he wants. Just being tired is something I'd expect someone to bounce back from in a restful long weekend or a week at most. That's true. What possibilities are out there if you look forward instead of back? Right. This guy is calling you out exactly in the same ways I am, and I would, right? You got to think forward. You got to think about the future and work with what you have now and focus on accomplishing what you want to get. Not sit there and, dwell over what you don't have, right? Would you like to retrain as a physical therapist? He's asking the same question I would ask. You should start a side hustle. The sabbatical might be great for you. I love how they call it a sabbatical. Sounds like a church thing, right? I could say, I'm going to go on a sabbatical from women, but I don't think my lady would like that. I'm kidding, baby. I do not want a sabbatical from you, okay? I took one over the summer and ended up discovering an entirely new career path for myself that I'm just now putting into action. You see, this dude here is saying that, hey, you know what? He was probably in the same boat you're in. He realized that he was wasting his time by, just sitting around and moping instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to try this new venture here and see how it goes. If it doesn't pan out, then I'll try something else, right? That's all you have to do is put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to take risks. For men, It is not normal when you're not willing to take risks. Masculine energy is taking risks. Feminine energy is fearing risks. Now, in the modern world where women are liberated, yes, women are empowered to take risks, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But technically, taking risks is more of a masculine characteristic than a feminine characteristic, okay? The original poster comments back and says, that's my take on it as well. Well, no, it's not, because that's not what you said in your original posting. I think now you're reading what the first comment wrote, and you're realizing, hey, yeah, maybe I should take some risks. Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm the one holding myself back, right? They unfortunately haven't worked as of late. I guess I have a bit of prideful, suck it up, it could be much worse mentality too. No, I think that this dude is just comfortable with the job he has, the money he makes, and he fears taking a risk to have more of what he wants, and that fear is losing what he already has. If he plays his cards right, he can do a side hustle while he still works his current job. That's all he has to do. Then it's really not even a risk. Retraining seems very daunting to me, as it would be 18 plus months of schooling to do so. My dad, 20 years before he passed away, and this was he died at 76, so around 55, 56, maybe 54, 55, he went back to school and got his real estate licenses and became a real estate broker and made very good money for the last 20 years of his life, more than he did. He made very good money when he was in the car business for 20 years before that, but he made even better money in the real estate industry. It's never too late to go back to school. You could do that part-time while you're working your job, go to school at night, or you can even take classes online at home. It's much easier nowadays, so there's really no excuse. It's all up to you. I guess I'm out of the class mindset and more into the gradual learning mindset. Well, it kind of sounds like to me, sir, you're 29 years old and you have lazy millennial syndrome. That's exactly what I'm going to call it from here on out. LMS, lazy millennial syndrome. One more time. You've got LMS, lazy millennial syndrome. I mean, I could read this again, but I think you get the point, right? Now, the first person, Ben gives advice, responds further. This is interesting. It is an intimidating prospect for sure. Well, anything is going to be a little intimidating. You just have to work through it, work past it. Masculine energy is taking risks and having strength, right? And pushing forward, breaking through barriers, overcoming obstacles, right? This dude is not approaching this in a masculine way. He's approaching this in a very feminized, lazy, millennial syndrome type of way. I'm lucky in that I am able to start my new career while I'm training. Okay? But I know for fields that require licensing, that's generally not possible. Well, if you want to become a doctor or a nurse or something that requires a degree in order to be able to apply and get a nursing license or a license to practice medicine and stuff like that, right? Then you have no choice. But there are other careers that have fewer requirements. But even if you want to sell real estate or sell insurance, you have to get your insurance licenses by passing the state exam or whatever it is in your neck of the woods if you're in a different country. Let's see. Take some time and explore options and find a variety of people to talk it over with if you can. Improving your industry skills for a lateral move might be the better option if a total career shift isn't in the cards right now. Why a lateral move? A lateral move is just basically getting into a different department with the same pay. Lateral moves, in my opinion, can be okay temporarily, but they're not going to get you ahead. You're just basically moving to a different department at the same pay grade. You're not furthering yourself. So anyway, I get that, but I don't fully agree with it. Sometimes even a small change can make all the difference, or it can lead to unexpected big change later on. Exactly, but you got to take risks. You got to take chances. And you cannot have lazy millennial syndrome. That's the problem nowadays. It's lazy millennial syndrome. Somebody that deleted their account said the issue with physical therapy is you might need years more of schooling and make less than you already do. That's true. Physical therapists don't make a lot of money out of the gate. And they really don't make a lot of money unless they start their own practice and build up a huge clientele. And then most physical therapists are now also on YouTube, and they're supplementing their income. And some of them are even making more money on YouTube than they're making in their practice. There's a couple of physical therapists that most people that have been on YouTube for a while have come across. Bob and Brad, they call themselves the two most famous physical therapists on the internet. In their opinion, of course, like they say, right? And I think they've got 3+ million subscribers, or almost 4 million subscribers. So when you have a subscriber base like that, and you've been doing it for a while, they're probably doing very well on YouTube and in their private practice as well, too. But when you're just starting out as a physical therapist, you're probably going to work for somebody else. I'd be surprised if you make more than 50, 60, or 70 grand a year, depending on the area of where you're at. So I get it. He is probably making more money doing the data analysis where he's at. He's probably making 100, 120, or 150K a year. And if he's making that amount of money and can't afford to buy a house, then he's probably living in New York or California or one of the most expensive places on the planet for real estate. So I get it if he's living there, but he hasn't mentioned where he lives. That would be helpful too. That would give us a little more context. Let's read a few more here, and then we're going to start to wrap this baby up. We are at 1 hour and 31 minutes. I just noticed my lady in the chat put respectfully, maturely, and professionally, hashtag LMS, LOL. You like that, baby? Lazy millennial syndrome. It's true. I'm not trying to even be funny about it. It's the goddamn truth. They're lazy as fuck. Lazy millennial syndrome. I should register trademark that. Boy, all the backlash I'm going to get from the millennials, right? But the ones that actually give me backlash for this are only getting triggered because it's true. If they get triggered and respond to this, it's admitting that, hey, it's the truth, right? My lady really loved that. Hashtag LMS. LOL. Baby, your daughter is 27 years old, and she's never mind. She's a millennial, baby. Baby, you created that monster, and that's all on you. But I know you love her anyway. And your son is a Gen Zer. Almost a millennial, but a Gen Zer. And your son, is cool, calm, and collective. Doesn't cause any issues. I look forward to meeting your son one day. He sounds like a pretty cool dude. And I look forward to meeting your daughter too, but that's going to take some work. Man, that's going to be some work. Whew. All right. I feel like I'm never going to recover after having kids, LOL. There are no such things as days off anymore, and sleeping in is getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep, which would normally be fine, but I feel like I could sleep a solid 12 hours after a year of 4 to 5 hour nights. Well, that's what happens when you have a baby, right? They keep you up all night. Yeah. I mean, I think in that situation, hopefully, most people have their partner, their boyfriend or girlfriend, husband and wife, and, they take turns. One night, one of them sacrifices the sleep, and the other night, the other one does. You got to figure it out because, that's going to be challenging there. That's just a part of life. So I get that. That can definitely cause, burnout. You sound like you use a break or at least a change, says Ben gives advice. And the one that was talking about the kids, I think it's a woman, losing sleep over raising the kids, keeping them up all night. Yeah, the wife, it's a dude. Yeah, the wife finally agreed to a long-term babysitter. So here's hoping. You know what, dude? I'm going to give you a big round of applause. Yeah. So this dude's saying, yeah, the wife finally agreed to a long-term babysitter, so here's hoping. And let me guess, you're paying for it, but she had to agree to allow you to spend the money. Either that, or she's like, I don't trust anyone with our baby, so I'm going to lose sleep all night because that's our baby and I'm very protective of it. And then she finally gets burnt out and says, baby, fuck it, get the damn babysitter. Get the damn babysitter. I need to catch up on some sleep. I'm burned out, right? Yeah. I love women. Women are so... women just make life so much more interesting for men. I'll tell you that. Couple more. We're going to go off the air. Agree. As a contractor, burnout for me means fishing. Moving on. No more. Couple more here. We're going to go off the air. Get your questions, comments, and concerns in the chat. Going off the air in just about 5 minutes. The way I see it, burnout is when you are tired and you lose motivation. So even when you recover, your energy, your motivation does not return and you end up losing focus. Well, burnout can be caused when, like you said, you lose motivation, you lose a desire to do something that you may have once enjoyed, right? Maybe you realized, even though you enjoyed what you were doing initially, it really wasn't, what your purpose was meant to be. And that's what happened to me because I used to work in retail and retail management. I used to sell insurance and did quite well. And I was very happy selling insurance at first. But then I got burnt out from that. It was just too much work and it wasn't fulfilling. And then when I finally realized what my real true purpose is of helping other people better their lives, that's when I made the change. And, I was selling insurance several years into starting this business. And it wasn't until almost 2 years ago where I sold my insurance business when I felt that was the best time to make the move. I had to make a very tough decision at that point. But it was a great decision and I was able to reinvest my money and stretch things out. And I've been able to live my life. And that's how I've been able to do it. And if you folks need help on transitioning from the corporate world or working for someone else into becoming a self-employed entrepreneur, I can come up with a game plan for you and do it in a way where, yes, you need to keep your current job to keep making money and paying your bills. You also need to have money saved up in case of a rainy day. And you need to work your side hustle, part-time, and keep your current day job until you come close to replacing your income or once you replace your income. And that's when you do it. Either that or you have another way of, reinvesting money that you've made, and that makes you money. And if you're good with the stock market, and some people, if you're good with crypto, I haven't gotten into crypto yet. But there are things you can do. And I'm not a financial advisor. I can refer you to some financial advisors, but I can help you get on a game plan to start the transition if your purpose involves you going the self-employed route or the self-employment route. Let's see. Whereas exhaustion is also tiresome, but when you recharge, your motivation also comes back or never changes, and focus also returns. Okay. Final posting here. It's amazing how this headset pretty much cancels. I can still hear myself talking, but it's not as loud as I'm actually talking. So that's great. I don't get distracted, and I speak loud enough to have great sound through the microphone. So let's read this final comment here, and then I'll check out the chat for any final questions, comments, or concerns. My experience with burnout, and not burnout in a job, but for a sport I did, I faced some mental health related issues. It was obvious that I was tired and didn't have motivation to go to practice and would just rather sit around at home. But what also came with it was depression and anxiety. That's happened to my woman. She's had clinical depression and clinical anxiety, and she got on the medication for it, and she's doing a lot better. I have never had clinical depression or clinical anxiety, but I've had moments of depression and anxiety, and I've been able to work through it. Maybe it took a day or two to work through it. But if you have clinical depression and clinical anxiety, you got to get to a doctor, a therapist, and your doctor. Go see your primary care physician. They'll refer you to the right doctor. They'll all get you the right medication. It made the biggest difference in my lady's life, and it can make the biggest difference in your life as well. Just got to get the help. Just a lot of frustration and anger. Had no ability to perform my best. Mental breakdowns, at least that's what I went through when I had to realize if it was burnout or if it was just exhaustion, where you need to take like a couple of weeks off to recharge. Yeah, you can get exhausted even doing what you enjoy doing. But here's the thing. When it turns from exhaustion to burnout, burnout is beyond exhaustion. You could be tired and be exhausted and take a night off and then come back the next day and you'll be fine. But burnout is a long-term and lasting effect. Just for example, when I used to let the trolls and haters on YouTube get to me, and I felt the need to react to them and try to stop what they're doing, okay, it burnt me out. It threw me off my center. It threw me off my game. That's what would burn someone out, what burned me out, when I just said, screw it. Ignore them. Let them talk all the shit they want. Let them rebroadcast all the content of mine they want. I'm just going to do my own thing and focus on myself. And that gets rid of the burnout. And that doesn't exhaust you as much. Will you still get exhausted doing everything right every now and then? Yes, because you need to take a break every now and then, even if you do everything perfectly. The body needs rest. But you can't prevent burnout by not letting people get to you emotionally and triggering you, right? One of the biggest things, the number one reason, the number one thing that causes burnout is a lack of emotional self-control. And when people see you rising up to success, there are many people that are going to try to stop that. Just don't let them get to you. Don't let them trigger you. Don't let them make you lose your emotional self-control, because when you lose your emotional self-control, like I said before, you lose it all. When you lose your emotional self-control, you lose it all. Okay, final paragraph here. Give me just 1 second. Now, with my last job that I worked, I would consider it to be more exhausted. I think you meant to say exhausting. That's okay. Not burnout. I was tired and didn't ever feel in the mood to go into work, but I still did anyways, and it wasn't that bad once I was there. Yeah, you probably didn't enjoy the job. It probably wasn't your purpose to do that job. You're just doing it for the money. So the difficulty was getting out of bed and just getting there. But once you got there, you were able to function and do your job. And that's how most people are. That's why part of what I do here is I help people figure out what their purpose is and give them advice on, making a career change that would potentially make them more money and make them happier and give them a better quality of life through a better work schedule, etc. Right? I was preschool teaching, so the kids brought joy to my days. No, that's cool, but that's probably not your purpose. The only thing is that the PTO, paid time off benefits there, suck. Well, the teaching profession is one of the most underpaid professions on the planet, so I get you there. That just goes without saying. You have to work a full year just to earn yourself 1 week vacation, 2 sick days, and a mental health day along with paid holidays. Yeah, I get it. My last girlfriend before this one was a teacher, very underpaid and minimal benefits. And I motivated her to, go back to school and get a master's and, apply for a teaching job at a college and maybe double or triple her income and get better benefits. She was working for a private school. And, when you work in a private school, you're working for a boss, the owner, and it's all about the owner making money and trying to pay you the least amount as possible. When you work for university, or other type of organization, it's a little bit different. You'll get paid a little bit more. Still, all teachers are underpaid, but I would not work in the private sector if you're a teacher. You'll get screwed big time from what I've seen. Let's see here. So me not being able to use any benefits for a whole year had me exhausted. Well, here's another thing. Most schools are Monday through Friday. But what happens? You got to bring home, the work that the kids do, the homework the kids do, and then grade it over the weekend, right? And even though a lot of things are digital nowadays, it still takes time to grade things digitally. Teachers' work never ends. Not a career I would ever even fathom doing, ever. I feel for all of you that are teachers. God bless you. I mean, I could have taken a day off if I wanted to. I just wouldn't get paid, and I really couldn't miss a day of working. Yeah, you needed the money to pay your bills. I get it. So, yeah. It sounds like to me that you enjoyed being around the kids, but you didn't enjoy the benefits or the perks of being a teacher. You were underpaid, as all teachers are, and your benefits are crap. I get it. So at that point, you got a few options. You can change careers, or how about, start your own childcare business, and then you'll make a lot more money. Trust me. 2 ex-girlfriends ago, that's what she was doing during that time. I don't know what happened to her business during COVID. I'm kind of curious, but I'm not going to reach out to her and ask her because I move on. But yeah, you could start your own, in-home daycare, childcare business and literally double or triple your income and take weekends off, nights and weekends off, right? Probably still getting that, but you'd make a lot more money. Then you can afford to get your own benefits. All right, folks. Let's go back to full screen. We're going to start wrapping things up here. Yeah, burnout is a serious thing. Like I said at the beginning of the show and towards the end of this show again, the number one thing that causes burnout, in my opinion, is a lack of emotional self-control. Again, if you're going to remember one thing regarding this entire show, remember this. In my opinion, and it should be a fact, but in my opinion, the number one thing that causes burnout is a lack of emotional self-control. If you get a good grip on your emotional self-control, whether you're a man or a woman, and I know it's a little harder for women because you ladies respond to everything emotionally first, okay? But as a man or a woman, if you get a good grip on your emotional self-control and you don't let anything faze you regardless what anyone says or does to you, that'll put you in a position where nothing will ever burn you out. Yes, will you get exhausted? Yes. Will you get tired and need some time off? Sure, but you'll be able to recover rather quickly. If you allow people to get to you emotionally or let things get to you emotionally, it's going to wear you out quicker than anything and wear you out for a longer period of time, thus causing burnout. So, with that being said, I'm going to get on out of here, folks. My lady's probably almost back home. Going to chit-chat with her a little bit, and her and I may be going live tomorrow morning at some point on this channel. So keep it locked here on Coach Eli 2 Uncensored Live Streams. Keep it on the community tab. Also subscribe to my other channel, Coach Eli, Elias Melas. Nightbot has been sharing the link every 7 minutes. Or go to youtube.com/Life Coach Eli. Subscribe over there, bang the bell, and select notifications. Keep an eye on that community tab as well. And between both channels, we're going to keep on bringing you the best content to help you get through your days and to become the best version of yourselves that you can be, so you can all accomplish whatever it is that your hearts desire. With that being said, have yourselves a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.